Hey guys, Crispin Powley here. One of my favorite fish to fish for is a spotted bass. They're known for their voracious appetite and their ferocious nature. Something that's mean and likes to eat. That's a great deal. Problem is they don't get big in most places, but that's not a problem if you're here on Smith Lake in Alabama. So join us today. Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's show. I'm Crispin Powley and I'm on Lewis Smith Lake. I'm in northern Alabama. Everybody here locally calls it Smith Lake. I call it the place to go if you want to fish for giant spotted bass. It's about 21,000 acre lake. It looks like a highland reservoir. It's real steep banks. The deepest part of the lake is actually 264 feet. Super clear, super deep, super full of blueback herring. It is just the ticket for growing big spotted bass. We're gonna get you your local fishing reports, everything that you need to know what's going on in your local region from your insider reporters. I'm gonna get this boat launched. My good buddy Walt's gonna jump in with me. We're gonna get out here and get the fishing, and while we're doing that, I'm gonna send you back to the studio for your FSN weekend update.
Hi everyone. Unfortunately, the Salooner tables are indicating poor game fish activity for both days of fishing this weekend. Peak morning hours will take place around 8:44 on Saturday and 9:25 on Sunday. The best evening times will be starting at 9:09 on Saturday and 9:50 on Sunday. The sun will rise at 7:17 and set at 7:46, and evenings will feature a moon that is 29% visible. We're coming right back with fishing reports from throughout the area. Plus, I'll return with catfishing expert Chad Ferguson on this week's Ask the Pro feature. Stay with us.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Mercury, Go Boldly, Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder, Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. Request our free 2019 fishing guide at orangebeach.com.
Just a good example of a Smith Lake spotted bass. This sucker's long, he's thick. Guys, I am in one of my favorite places today, and that is fishing in a boat with my old buddy Walt. You guys might have saw him last year. I went down to Gunnersville and he guided me around, and we caught a bunch that day. But I've got this blessing where I can just show up and hand Walt the keys to the boat, and he just takes us where we need to be. So talk to me a little bit about our conditions here today, Walt.
So it is cool today. This morning has been very cool. We got light winds, but although the temperature is really cool, I think the fishing's gonna be hot.
Right.
We're gonna run to a couple of bridges, and there's some current coming around them. So the fish will stage up on those bridges where the bait is.
So these bridges are gonna make excellent vantage points to ambush herring in this current.
That's
and
right.
if we get around the bank, that's more largemouth, but you're subject to catch a spot anywhere.
Sure, and so the bridge will have shade, and the herring are very light sensitive.
Right.
So they'll get in that shade, and those bass hopefully will be right there eating them.
Still don't think he's a big one.
He's a fighter, though.
He is a fighter. Well, he's a good one.
Oh, that's a good one there. Oh yeah.
Well, this is just a good example of a Smith Lake spotted bass. This sucker's long, he's thick, heavy, everything you look for. They get a ton bigger here. And let me talk to you for a minute about why they get bigger here. This is not the Coosa River spot in Alabama that so many people hear about. This is actually probably more akin to the Kentucky spotted bass. Let me put him back and we'll. Smith Lake's known for striper fishing as well, just as much or more than the bass fishing. And rumor has it that several years ago, a bunch of the striper fishermen were getting herring, blueback herring, and bringing them in here for bait. And I guess at the end of the day, or when they were done fishing, they dumped their bait back, and they have just become a prolific food source in this lake for those big spotted bass. The fish that were average
2.5 pounders are now 4.5 pounders. And I mean, literally, these are blueback herring eaters, and we're catching them just in 70 feet of water. I'm gonna get rigged back up and throw back out there before Walt starts whooping on me.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you once again by the good folks at Fiberworks Marine Collision. Because bad things happen to good boats, Fiberworks, when good enough, just isn't good enough. Now this week we're going to talk bass fishing in Texas, and you can't talk spring bassing without talking about Lake Fork. A severe cold front early in the month really stunted the spawn, which had already begun in a very small way. Now it's full-on spawn at Lake Fork, and they've already turned in 1 fish over 13 to the Cheryl Lunker program, and 2 others have been caught that were not entered in the program. So now's the time to be on Fork. Throw your jigs, your soft plastic craws, any type of Texas rigged bottom type bait to catch some of these spawning bass. Over at Tawakoni, they're still catching big blue cats off the main lake structure. You'll want to use either your live bait or your cut bait for your best results. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Fiberworks Marine Collision. Be sure and follow us on Facebook, Lone Star Lakes.
Hey friends, Cajun Phil here with you, Fox Sports Southwest, Louisiana Fishery Report. I tell you what, just got a call from Captain Kevin. Him and 3 of our guys are out there catching lots of redfish right now. They're also catching a few flounder. Big story this week seems to be the bass fishing. Lacassine Reserve's finally open. It's a marsh area south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Catching lots of bedding bass on plastics, catching the other bass roaming around. They're throwing gold spoons to catch them. Up at Toledo Bend, Joe Jocelyn's doing great on bass. Said they moved up from the deeper water. They're in 3 to 5 foot of water. Spinner baits, rattle traps working good. Over in Chaffalai Basin, a lot of white perch right now. Black with a chartreuse crappie jib seems to be working the best right there. Tell you what, just contact old Cajun Phil or Captain Kevin at CajunPhil@hotmail.com. Till next week, this is Cajun Phil for Captain Kevin said, happy fishing, may God bless, and we're going to see you folks next week.
Good job, Walt. So that is an over, right?
That is definitely an over.
They bit it on the fall. Big one?
Feels good.
That, you know, they all stand a chance to be big ones here. Oh, yeah, that is a big one.
Kind of like line here.
Good job, Walt. So that is an over, right?
That is definitely an over. That's what we're looking for.
And you know, we talked about the introduction of the blueback herring, but when the state recognized the potential of the fishery here, they implemented that aggressive slot limit,
Right.
and that just allows that fish to grow to that quality, and they get tons bigger. But that is anywhere you go, that is a really nice spotted bass.
Oh, that's a good one there.
You want to go somewhere fun? It's Smith Lake, Northern Alabama.
Okay.
Boom, shakalaka.
How about that?
You know, what we're doing here is we're targeting these bridge pilings, and we're sitting in anywhere from about 60 to 80 feet of water. And what these bridge pilings offer is it's cover, and these herring are really related to cover and structure. Structure being what the bottom does, cover being what's on it. Well, these bridge pilings act as cover. They offer shade, they offer a current break, and those spotted bass in this lake have just learned how to take advantage of that when all those scenarios come together. We are trying to mimic that blueback herring. And you know what the fallacy is? They call them a blueback herring, but they actually have a green back. And I don't know who came up with it, but kind of not real smart in my opinion. But anyway, that's what we're doing.
Hey folks, Captain Greg Firm here with this week's Fox Southwest Outdoors Report. Hey, we're going to start this week's report over at Sabine. I just got on the phone with Captain Bill Watkins, and he said lots of great things are happening in Sabine right now. Captain Bill said both the Sabine and Nature's rivers, they're still flowing pretty high, but the redfish don't mind in Upper Sabine. live shrimp, and mullet up in the marshes are working for those redfish. Now the trout bite, hey, it's pretty tough in Upper Sabine. However, on the lower end, both the north and south levee wall is good for speckled trout. Now let's move down to Matagorda. Captain Charlie Paradosky said East Matty is hot. Good specks and reds along the south shorelines. Captain Charlie did say that afternoon bite, hey, it's been the ticket. For those staying in the boat, trout on live shrimp. Now the redfish, they're catching them on cut mullet fished on the bottom. Hey, amberjack season opens May 1st, and I just found out we get 62 days for red snapper. That season will open June 1st. Hey, check out our website or call the number on your screen. I'd be happy to take you out fishing. I'm Captain Greg Varm. I'll see y'all next time.
Big one?
It's not a big one, no.
It's a good one.
He's a pretty good one. Not bad.
Yeah, it's a chunk. So I was on the Rage Swimmer also.
Oh yeah.
So Walt, you fish here a lot. What determines your, I mean, we're throwing an 1/8 ounce head over 70 feet of water. What determines like your color, your, you know, the size? Talk to me a little bit about that, because I feel like it's going to be water clarity.
Well, let me put this back real quick.
Okay.
So there's several things. You're asking about the size of your head. So the head, it has a lot to do with the action of the bait.
Right.
So the lighter head you have, the more action you have. So you want to go with the lightest head you possibly can. We're sitting at 75 feet of water, throwing an 1/8 ounce head, but we're letting it sink and reeling it real slow. So the color, it has to do with the water color.
Right.
So this water is pretty clear. So you're using the translucent colors, and with the sunshine, you may want a little glitter in it. And that just, if you use something really bright or a white, it just too much contrast in this clear water.
And that kind of turns them off.
That seems to, yeah.
On darker days, do you go to a darker color or a brighter color?
Well, certainly on a darker day, you may want to go to, sometimes even a black will work, but in a white will work. In muddier water, like a white will work real well, because it's a contrast to that, of the watercolor.
Gotcha.
So that's what you just want to emulate the bait fish that are down there.
Right. Rock on. Let's emulate some bait fish.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Lou's. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland, the best in bass and crappie lures, heads to tails. Glacier Glove. Stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades. Balls Out, made in the USA. Heavy-duty mounts for your fish finders.
That 2.75 is not terribly off. What you got?
Got a fish. One of these old spotted bass, I hope.
Big old spotted bass. That's what we came here for. That's a nice spotted bass.
Yeah.
Son, you've put it on me today. Walt, while you're unhooking him, let's talk for a second. I'm going to pick up this rod and use it as an illustration. So, look at that.
What does it have in him? Oh, it got him a minnow. We're fishing with too big a lure.
that 2.75 is
that's pretty close.
Not terribly off. Here's what I'm going to take a second to talk about. I'll let you throw him back. Let's explain to folks kind of the setup we're using. We're throwing 1/8 and 1/4 ounce heads.
Correct.
With 2.75 and 3.25 inch swimmers. But let's talk for a minute. We're using spinning gear, but one of the things that I think people need to understand, you're gonna have to excuse it, we're fishing under bridges today. There's traffic noise. It don't mind the fish, it don't bother us. I hope it don't bother y'all. My main line and your main line are both braided line.
Correct.
And our leaders are both fluorocarbon.
That's right.
And that is so you get the castability and all the durability of braided line, the strength, the lack of twist.
Right.
But you still have that clarity of the fluorocarbon.
Right.
And that's pretty important right here, right?
Oh, without a doubt. And the fluorocarbon will allow your bait to sink better. So if you had on straight braid, it would hold it up in the water column better. So it does a really good job with that as well.
Right. So folks, if you're going to be fishing clear water, anytime I'm using a spinning rod, whether I'm in clear water or not, I exclusively use braid to fluorocarbon. And I really believe that it gets you a few more bites.
Absolutely.
Let's get another bite.
Well, it seems like spring has just exploded here in Oklahoma over the last couple of weeks, and the good fishing is coming right along with it. As the daylight hours get longer, the temperatures get warmer. John and Sheila Bond at Grand Lake, they have docks near the Shangri-La area. He said the crappie fishing has been good there, as you can see. Catching some really nice fish, and he said the better ones are coming closer to the bottom, about 34 to 35 feet of water. John and Sheila also decided to do some catfishing, went up into the river section, looking for shallow, muddy, warmer water. They found some. Sheila caught this 50-pounder. John said they had 4 more in the 20 to 30-pound range and some smaller ones using cut bait for those catfish. Gary Rowe went to Lake Eufaula fishing for crappie. He had a good outing there. He was fishing open water, targeting about 12 to 14 foot of water, throwing the new Bobby Garland Slab Hunter minnow, caught a nice mess at Lake Eufaula. George Tolson went to Hudson Lake bass fishing, had a good outing there, caught about 20 keepers. Said his best bait was the Gene LaRue Who Daddy Jr. green pumpkin watermelon pepper color, and he was targeting some laydowns and stumps and sections of water about 6 to 8 foot deep. Fishing is really starting to pick up in the state, and you can catch them, but you can't catch them if you don't go.
You know, one of the things I get asked about the most is, as we were talking about the fluorocarbon leader to the braided mainline, is what kind of knot do you like to tie? Because you're putting a lot of faith in some knot, in some 10-pound braid and some 8-pound fluorocarbon. You know, you would think that would be your weakest spot, but I have had a ton of success tying this knot. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly what it's called. I've heard it called a uni to uni. I've heard it called a blood knot. I've been told they're 2 different knots, but let me show you the one I tie. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the 2 and I'm gonna lay them end to end, one end facing that way, one end facing that way. And I'm gonna make a curl, and I'm gonna take the end of one, and I'm gonna do 1, 2, Walt's up here catching fish. He came off. 3, 4 loops around both of them. Wet it real good, and then gently pull them together and cinch that thing down. Then on the other side, I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Take both of them, flip the end around, make a curl, and then do 4 loops. 1, it's a million times easier out of the wind. 2, 3, 4. Then I'm gonna wet it, and I'm gonna cinch that down, and then you take your 2 and you pull them together, and what you've got, let me clip this off. That's not my best work, but it'll easily pass through your guides without hanging. It won't go ting, 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 ting. And that allows you a great, strong connection. Walt's got a good connection with another spotted bass up here. Is it a good one, Walt?
Good one.
That is a pretty good one. Man, these fish are just fat. They're so healthy. We haven't caught a poor one yet. Yeah, that sucker's healthy. Just look at the girth of them. You can tell a whole lot about a fishery, about the shape of the fish you catch there.
You can always watch our latest episode on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Catch up on past episodes and learn about fishing techniques and new gear at our how-to page. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for new fishing videos every day. Simply search for Fox Sports Outdoors and click the like button on Facebook and the follow button on Twitter, and watch a new episode every week on any device by downloading the free Waypoint TV app on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Motor Guide's wireless and easy-to-use XI3, Waypoint Marine, the Gulf Coast's leading saltwater boating specialist, Strike King, Taiwan Han, and Tracker Boats, America's best-selling fishing boats.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's get right to your Ask the Pro question for this week. Jonah wants to know, what is the best way to find shad to catch with my bait net? For an answer, we asked catfishing expert Chad Ferguson.
The best way to find shad is to use your fish finder. Get out on the water, watch side imaging or down imaging sonar, and look for what looks like large cotton balls in the water. That's going to be large groups of threadfin shad. They're pretty easy to find once you learn how to spot them. Now, if you don't have a fish finder or you're not real confident in reading your fish finder, one of the simple old-time tricks that really works well for finding shad is to go out at night and throw your cast net up around lights. Any kind of marina lights, lighted boat docks, street lights shining under the water, shad will congregate to those lights after dark, and it's a super simple way to find and catch shad for a good portion of the year.
Thank you, Chad. If you want some help from one of the pros, simply go to foxsportsoutdoors.com and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit a question. Now it's time to find out who wins this week's Big Catch of the Week.
It's time for this week's winner in the Big Catch of the Week contest. This week's winner is Chase Nichols of Bethany, Oklahoma, with a 29-pound striper he caught at the Lake Eufaula Dam in Oklahoma. To enter the contest, go to foxsportsoutdoors.com and click on the Big Catch of the Week box on the right side of the homepage to send in your big fish photo, or simply post your photo on our Facebook page. You could have your big fish shown here on our show.
You know, a couple very important pieces of gear that you need to be successful on a deal like we had here today at Smith Lake. One is your rod and reel setup. When you're throwing an 1/8 ounce head and you're throwing small swim baits and you're making long casts in clear water, it's pivotal. You've got a rod and reel that can not only handle the distance, handle the lightweight, but handle those big spots. My favorite is this Mock Crush combo from Lou's. It's a rod and reel combo you can't beat. The quality for the value, and it's also orange, which is a pretty awesome color. Number two, Lowrance, the new HDS Live. It's got active imaging on it, and it really works to help you find that bait farther from the boat than about any other platform out there. And finding that bait around those pilings and finding the level that they are at is so critical to getting bit. You know, one of the things I see so much in life, and I bet you can all relate to this, is people have a difference with someone and they allow it to just completely impact their relationship. You know, the truth is that we're designed for relationship, and don't let things, my advice would be, don't let things that make you different vantage point, difference of opinions, like Walt, the guy I fished with today, he actually works with one of my competitors, but we're great friends, and if I allowed our differences to dictate our relationship, I'd miss out on an incredible friendship. I've seen friends, families, everything just have squabbles and over stupid differences, and it causes rifts that don't add anything to your life but actually take away. So my advice, forgive, love people right where they're at. That's stuff that matters. Man, what an awesome day. I got to share it with my buddy Walt. We caught some magnum spots, and I got to fish Smith Lake, which is just an incredible fishery. I hope you learned today how you can go down here on your own, run around and catch these big spots as well. Barry will be back with you next week. Until then, I'm Crispin Powley. God bless.